Good afternoon. We're early. Um, I was just, I was checking a setting. I was checking a setting and I accidentally clicked the wrong thing and I noticed, oh, I'm going live. So, welcome to the show early. So, welcome to this week. Gosh darn it, what a week it has been. Um, Yeah, I'm going to give people time. Before I even get into anything, guys, I'm going to give people time to get in here because there's probably people saying, what's going on? The show's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to start yet. So, yeah, what can I say? It happens. I'm just glad I had my countdown up so I at least have a notice. What would have really been, you know what, maybe this would have been funny. If I hadn't noticed, and it went live and I wasn't even in my seat and I was fuddling around in the studio and that certainly could have been funny for sure, but yeah, here we are live. Whew. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. I do have the window open, so I don't think we're going to get too many sounds coming in that would be intrusive. It's a little warm in here, and it's actually cooler outside. So I'm getting a tiny bit of a breeze coming in. So definitely let me know if if the noise, like I don't know. Actually, it's funny. This mic doesn't. The mic I used to use a different mic. It would pick up everything, like everything. So the Rode, like, because before I went to my iPhone, because my iPhone really is a good camera. I got this other camera. It's like a DSLR, and I was using that with another Rode mic. And I swear, a kid could be out on the sidewalk and cough, and it would pick it up. So when it came to editing, wow. Even if the air conditioner came on, I would have to do a whole bunch of hum removal stuff to try to get rid of it. So anyway, as you can tell, I'm trying to ramble for 5 minutes because the show doesn't start for another 4 minutes. I'm just here. This is the pre-show. There we go. Welcome to the pre-show. Welcome to the pre-show. Um, I've been thinking. About that second game. So we kind of settled on a battleship, and I'm going to call it Canadian Battleship. But I'd like to have it ready by next weekend. So my goal is next Sunday is for us to pick. I'm thinking 25. We'll pick 25 stocks, whether they're up or down on the following Monday. And we'll use that to determine how many shots we get at the board to see if we can get a battleship, see if we can sink them. And I think we got to sink them all. I think we need to sink them all. I think because obviously once you take a guess, and this will be the difference between, like with the bingo, how you guys just sort of holler and holler, like, all right, let's take a guess. We're going to do it a little differently. Like, we'll take it one guess at a time, but we'll give enough time between the guesses that that you can look, and maybe strategize where you want that next guess to go. Because if you hit at B2, you might want to go B3, or because I won't do diagonal. I'm just going to do sideways or up and down or sideways. But it'll be a test run. I mean, yeah, if we win, we'll still throw a show in the bank. But if we lose and it looks like it's really too hard, then the next time we do it, we'll give you more opportunities to win more shots. Because this is the one worry I have is, let's say we were doing it today. Everybody's going to come in. If everybody was making guesses today, you know what they're going to guess? They're going to guess red. This down, this down, this down, because of Friday, because of what happened on Friday. And, well, I think tomorrow might actually be green. And if that were to happen, could you imagine if you ended up getting 5 guesses? It's like, how am I supposed to sink, 3 or 4 battleships with 5 guesses? So once I put the board together and I put the ships on it, I'll take a look and I'll see what's reasonable. Like right now, I'm thinking 25, but maybe you need a bit more. Maybe you need a bit more. We'll look in, and I think as well there needs to be a X number of regular shots. Well, oh, here's what I'm thinking. What if you get let's say 10 shots? We start off with 10 shots no matter what. So if you got everything wrong, you still got 10 shots. Or you know what? And then, yeah, and then you earn shots. So then maybe you have a chance to earn up to 25 more or something like that. So yeah, anyway. We'll do this next week we're just going to do next Sunday we're just going to do the thing, and then the following market close we'll do it just like we do with the bingo. We'll get all of our stocks, ETFs, or so, well, you can call it an ETF if you want. We'll get all of our stuff together on Sunday and we'll bring it back. Oh guys, it's 4:00. The show's actually starting. Holy banana bread. Hey guys, welcome to this week. Gosh darn it, what a week it has been. Those of the early birds got to experience an extra 5 minutes because I hit a button. I hit a button I shouldn't have hit. And live I went. And that's okay. We call it the pre-show. So those of you who just rolled in right now thinking the show's starting, you missed the pre-show, but we did nothing. I made sure I was as unproductive as I possibly could be. If I was any more unproductive, I'd be in the government. Whoa, zinger. All right. So it's 100 days. Guess what? We're now a war that was only supposed to last about a month. We're now at day 100 of the conflict in the Middle East, and it's still going. It's still going, and the damage, we don't even know what that damage is going to look like. We know that the natural gas, Qatar, the natural gas facility in Qatar, that's going to be a huge problem. And it's not the natural gas. I keep saying this, it's helium. Helium is going to become a big issue. Now, there's a lot of helium in the ground in different places. So, for example, I believe I think it was Quebec. I ran into a story about a month ago about Quebec. I think Quebec, they've got some helium in the ground, but it's not listed as a critical mineral. They can't get the proper funding, and they can't get the fast tracking to get it out of the ground. Well, if it's not a critical mineral, why do we have companies saying we'd like to start drilling on the moon for helium-3? It's a critical mineral, guys. If you want an MRI, you need helium. And helium, and here's the thing, helium is, if you know anything about the periodic table, the elements, helium is number 2. It's, the only thing smaller than helium is hydrogen. So it's one of these things that even when you have gas, helium has a habit of escaping. It's hard to keep it. It's hard to keep it. And any helium that gets loose, like in the air, if you release helium, you know where it ends up? It ends up going to space because it's so light. Well, what happens in a balloon? The balloon floats because of how light helium is. It goes up. It goes up to the top of our atmosphere, and it fizzles off into space. So helium is going to become huge. I know that there's been a few news sources that have touched on it, but it will get bigger. It will become a bigger part of this whole story as well. Now, here's the thing. How many days until Labor Day? It's I don't know. It's less than 100. But I have a feeling that this war, or whatever we're calling it, I have a feeling it could go another 100. I have a feeling the Strait of Hormuz could stay, I'm not gonna say stay closed, but not be back to normal operations until well beyond Labor Day. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see where that's going to go. Yeah. Now, another story I just found out about today over in Alberta. So as you know, we've got the government has fast-tracked a high-speed rail over here in Ontario. Ontario and Quebec. So the first part of the line is going to go from Quebec to Ottawa, but eventually it'll go from Quebec to Toronto. Well, Alberta's going to do the same thing. Well, they're not going to Quebec, but they're gonna start it off with a line that goes between Edmonton and Calgary. And once this line, so we're talking a train, and we're talking high speed. So this train will be traveling about 300 kilometers an hour. So you'll be able to go from, and I think it's going from airport to airport. So you'll be able to go from the Calgary airport to the Edmonton airport in about an hour. So that's actually not that bad. I mean, driving wise, if you were to leave in a car from Calgary, an hour, you might make it to Red Deer. You know, and mind you, I don't live there, so Vic is the person we need to. Vic would know 100%. He could nail it down to the second. But yeah, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Anyway, just a little bit of stuff that's happening. The U.S. and Israel, not as close as we thought. Apparently, Israel's been conducting a little bit of spycraft on the U.S., and the U.S. isn't very happy about that. So, you know, could we see them completely sort of separate on this whole war thing? I don't know. But I know the U.S. certainly wasn't happy about that. All right. Anyway, we got lots to talk about today. We're gonna go wherever you guys want to go at the same time. Let's get right in. Let's just jump on in. Up first, Prairie. I guess I'm not late. Good afternoon, community. Happy sunny Sunday afternoon. It's not sunny here. We actually have overcast. We had quite a bit of rain yesterday, and we had a little bit of thunder too. Bismarcky says, good afternoon, all. Where are the markets headed this week? That's the question. I think there's going to be two different stories. So obviously the Monday story, I think markets fell a lot further than they meant to on Friday. So I think we're going to see things come back up. But this is Monday. We got the rest of the week. Oh, we have rate hike decisions. Obviously, we know what's going to happen. Everybody and their dog knows those rates aren't changing. But nonetheless, people will start worrying their little heads over them, and we might see a little bit of volatility midweek. So we could see a buy the dip opportunity perhaps on Wednesday. We'll see. We also have the SpaceX IPO coming. That is on, is that on the 12th or the 13th? Let me see here. It's got to be the 12th. Because, yeah, the 12th is a Friday. You can't really do an IPO on a Saturday. And Elon loves doing, he actually loves having an IPO on a Friday, because then as long as it pumps, he can then go into the weekend and say, you know, look at what my company's doing. So, that could be an interesting end of the week. There's so much speculation about this, like, you know, are they setting this all up? Is there a conspiracy? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but we're all going to find out. So we could have a really interesting week. So we could have green earmuffs. So we could have some green at the beginning and some green at the end with a whole bunch of volatility in between. Let's see. The other question, of course, is Bitcoin. You know, what's Bitcoin gonna do? Because here, let's take a look. We'll zip on over here. So Bitcoin, this was a major level of support. Now it's a major resistance. So Bitcoin is moving kind of sideways right now. If it wants to get back up, you know, I'd love to see it get back up above this line. But if it doesn't get above this line, it has to break it eventually, one way or the other. Could we see the direness that Lance likes to predict? We could. I'm hoping we don't, but we could. Now, one other little interesting thing tidbit about Bitcoin is that you're not seeing the screen. There we go. I went small, but I didn't have the screen up. I can't believe it. All right. It happens. All right. Anyway, yeah, this is that major line of support. And as I was saying, this is where we are, and we don't want to head down. One other interesting thing about Bitcoin is that this is a midterm year, and Bitcoin is actually historically Bitcoin has had pretty good had a pretty good year overall on those midterm years. Will that, will history come back? Will it? Well, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Are we going to get a rhyme? Are we going to see Bitcoin move back up towards the end of the, maybe by the end of the summer, have it back up here, maybe make a run up into the 80, 90,000 range? Could we see that? That's a great question. Or is it too late? Are we already in crypto? Is this crypto winter right now? Or, or do we have to do the Lancelot? I'm trying to think of a word for it. The Lance jive down? I don't know. I do not know what's going to happen, but I'm here for it. That's for sure. And speaking of Lance, we got Lance. Good afternoon, everyone. What kind of crazy week awaits us? More dips coming tomorrow. I'm saying green tomorrow. I'm saying green. I just think that we went further. I think we dipped further on Friday than we needed to. So I think we'll get a little bit of a correction. But, we're going to see towards the end of the show, because normally we're still on the air by 6, we'll start to get our first peek of what's going on. We'll get to see our oil futures. So, let's find out. Lance says maybe one correct guess could equal 2 shots. 2 shots. Well, I'd rather, honestly, if we needed to do that, so one correct was 2 shots, I would just give 2 extra guesses. You know what I mean? So I think each guess should be a shot, but we want to make sure we have enough guesses that, we're going to get a good amount of shots. Obviously, the thing we don't want is if, let's say we had, let's say we had 50 squares that you could shoot at. Well, we certainly don't want people to have 50, because then what fun is that? It's like, yeah, we already won, just clear it off. We don't want to ever have as many shots as what's on the board. So there has to be a chance to lose. There has to be a chance to win. And that's one of those things. So what I think is, I'll work out the details. I have to work them out by next week. King of Day is in the house. Hello, happy Sunday. The stream started early, or am I missing something? Yeah, I clicked on a button. I clicked on a button. It's all me. Prairie says, I'd call CNR up. And A says, good afternoon, Candace. Hey, A, how are you? Samantha says, hello, Goat Squad. Happy Sunday. And Scott, I hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend after the frightening Friday. Yeah. No, I did pretty much nothing yesterday. That was kind of what I wanted. Prairie says, late for the bell, early for a pre-show. I know. Scott, I think there should be Shelium too, equal rights for all atoms. Oh boy. That, at first I didn't get it. I was like, what's Shelium? Is that a special type of helium? But all right. Oh boy, equal right for atoms. You're not getting the laughing goat. Not for this one. But it was a good try. A says how is it that there is still a war going on, but the gas price and oil price keep on going down? Am I looking at the wrong news sources? It's kind of that situation where, you remember how I said back early in this war, I said we want to get to one of two things. We either want the war over, or we want to get to a point where the market sort of looks at the news and just says, at the war, and says, oh yeah, it's background noise. Sort of like the Russia-Ukraine war. That's just background noise. It's already priced in. Nobody cares. And I say that, when I say nobody cares, I'm talking about when it comes to the market. Obviously, people care about what's going on over there. But that's what we need is for, I think it's starting to become more and more like background noise. So for the most part, things don't go too crazy unless there's some kind of weird escalation. And even this weekend, there's been a few little things. The U.S. shot down, what was it? I think they shot down some drones, and I think there was drones that were sent at a few different places as well from Iran. And so there's still a little bit of trading back and forth for sure. All right. And guys, we got the wonderful Mary in the house. Mary is our official captain of the like button. So if you have not yet hit that like button, please do. I'm just refreshing the test box here and see where we're at. We're at 19. There's only 442 of us here right now. That's actually a low number for today. Let's get to, well, at this point, let's get to 30 and then we'll go from there. All right, Rory says, afternoon, I'm hoping Monday dips 300 points. Need more shares. Nice. Prairie says, the Edmonton-Calgary high-speed rail has been in the works for many years. My late brother who lived in Edmonton mentioned it to me more than 10 years ago. Hope it finally goes forward. Yeah, well, they actually had a press conference. Danielle Smith was there and she was talking. I think the mayors were there too. So it really, and there's money now that's been earmarked for it. So yeah, it looks like it's going to go through. Rory, the QE2 between Edmonton, Calgary, and Red Deer is busy enough to be a 400 series highway. Yeah, absolutely. Prairie says Bitcoin was super green. Yeah, well today, right now, today Bitcoin is up. It is up 0.95. Actually, now 1.01. Paul, I forgot, and now 15 minutes behind at 109. Of course, the day you forgot, Paul, I started 5 minutes early by mistake. Ian says, hi all, I'm still confused. What funds are automatically forced to add SpaceX, H-Yield, VTI? Keep hearing about this, but can't find information. It's not what you think. So first of all, so SpaceX, once it launches, I don't think it's actually being included in the NASDAQ. I think it takes like a week. I think there's it's either a week to 12 days. I heard something of that nature before it actually is officially listed, which is actually crazy. It's actually crazy fast. It won't be on the S&P 500 at all, I think for at least a couple months. So there are rules, but yeah, kind of a lot of rules are being broken to get it onto the NASDAQ as fast as possible. Now, with that being said, that means on day one, HYLD doesn't have to. So if H-Yield, and now they might say, we want it. If they want it, then they'll do it. But right now, they don't have to. So I don't know if they are planning to include it. But we know that we do have a couple of, so Harvest and 9Point are both coming out with SpaceX ETFs right away. Now, let's say once SpaceX is on the NASDAQ, that still doesn't mean that anybody tracking the NASDAQ has to add them right away. They could either, one, they could rebalance ahead of time if they really want to have it, because, especially with the hype, or they can wait until whenever their scheduled rebalance. Because some of these companies, some of these ETFs will do like a quarterly rebalance. Some of them do annually. Some of them do semi-annually. So, it may, in some of these ETFs, it may not show up immediately until at least they rebalance. But it depends. I will honestly say if I had a tech ETF and SpaceX was coming out on Friday, I probably would do an emergency rebalance to get it in there. I wouldn't bring it in a big amount, but I would bring it in just enough that I could say, we do have it. That's what I would do. What do you think about Apotec's IPO, considering what happened to founder? Are they stable or trying to push bad investment to retail investors? It's a good question. I looked at Apotex the other day. I kind of like the company a little bit. I do kind of like the company. Everything I looked at looked pretty good. So I'm not going to jump on. I won't jump on it right away, but I do think that there is some potential there. Oh, actually, another really interesting thing. This reminds me as well is that I was actually watching a video earlier about some pretty cool stuff that Eli Lilly is doing research-wise. Basically, in a nutshell, I'm going to give you like, I watched a Hank Green video today. He did this whole video on it. But in a nutshell, there's a gene that some people have. And what this gene does is it pretty much, it makes your body have more basically hold more cholesterol in your blood. And there's an opposite version of the gene, which makes you have lower cholesterol in your blood. And obviously, if you have lower cholesterol in your blood, you know it improves your outlook when it comes to heart health. But they did an experiment using this new kind of a chemical. I won't even get into it. But basically, what it did is it goes into the liver. It changes the genes from the one that has from the high cholesterol gene to the low cholesterol gene. And once it did that, the people it did, their cholesterol level came down considerably. So it seems to be working really well, and it sounds like it's a pretty interesting thing. Now, mind you, they did a small trial of it, I think of about 25 people. There's a long way to go before this becomes available. It's just, it's one of the interesting things, but it sort of shows you where science is going. And one of the reasons that I think Eli Lilly is not a bad investment. They're really making some moves in the right direction. And you might be wondering, why did they put it in the liver? That's because the liver plays a big role in removing cholesterol from the blood. So if you're familiar with bile, it's basically it's kind of a fluid that, while it's made from cholesterol, it's stored in the gallbladder, and then it's used, basically it goes down into your digestive system to emulsify fat so you can break it down when when you eat it. So people who don't have a gallbladder, for example, they have a lot of problems with eating fat because they don't have, if they eat a fatty meal, they don't have that extra reserve of it. But anyway, that's part of why the liver all gets in. Anyway, I'm going on a rant. I'm starting to go on a tangent here. Let me get back to Rory. Focus on Rory. I'm trying to grab more H yield on Monday, even a market buy. Okay, fair enough. Scott says Apotex IPO on the 15th. Okay, so that's what, a week from Monday. Yeah, I'll watch that. Wealthsimple IPO, SpaceX 135. I would be breaking my rule of no single stocks, but also have FOMO. Anyone buying? Somebody is. Somebody, wait a minute. Who do? I know I had a message. I had a message today. Somebody was put in an order for it. Who was it? Passive investing, maybe? I have to double check, but yeah. I know at least one of you guys has put in an order for it. Scott says, call me crazy, but I'm not going anywhere near SpaceX initially. Okay, that's my normal mode of operation when it comes to an IPO. So, and I'm probably, I'll probably do the same thing, even though I will, like Mark, I will have that FOMO, but I probably will hold back and see what's going to happen. Actually, I might jump into one of these, one of the new ETFs. I might jump into that as my exposure. That way there I can get a little bit of income at the same time. Rory says, got to get that compound interest. Paul, E-mini S&P 500 futures, a negative 3.07%. Yikes. But keep in mind, futures and the market don't always line up. So I'm still sticking to my green tomorrow. We have a market close. So if I'm wrong, you guys can certainly say, Candace, you were wrong. And I could very well be wrong. Sometimes when you look at the level of volatility we've been getting in the last 100 days, it can sometimes make calling the market a lot more difficult, that's for sure. All right, Scott, they said SpaceX gets no special treatment 1 year before getting added to the indexes. Yeah, well, let's, I'm going to just reserve my judgment on whether they get special treatment or not. I'm just kind of curious to see what's going to happen. Mark requested 2 SpaceX IPO shares at Wealthsimple. Oh, sorry, no, Paul requested. It's Mark I requested. All right, nice, Paul. Rory, Elon wants his cake too. Lance, I think Bitcoin will rally back up to about 70K before it falls and breaks support. Oh, okay. Oh, Lance. You thinking we're going to get a rally to 70? Well, I hope you're right. I'd like to see higher, but I'll take the 70. I'll take it. Scott, that is only the S&P 500. NASDAQ 100 is only requiring 15 days for SpaceX. Marvell is kicking out Campbell's Soup out of the S&P 500. Is Campbell's Soup is kicked out of the S&P 500? Holy banana bread. I mean, that's good soup. How can they not be in the... Oh, boy. Scott said, I thought they said both. Iran shot missiles at Israel. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Now, I don't know if these are new or if these are the ones I was talking about earlier. Like, it's becoming background noise, Paul. That's kind of what I'm saying. You know, it's kind of like, oh, yeah. Oh, Iran shot missiles at somebody. Oh, yeah, okay. It must be Tuesday. That type of thing. PP, NASDAQ 100 is only requiring 15 days for SpaceX is not a good news. Yeah, that's what I was saying, about 2 weeks. So 15 days, slightly longer than 2 weeks. But yeah, normally it's supposed to take a lot longer. That is kind of the whole thing. Rory says, here we go again. Russell 1000 has 5 to 7 trading days to add SpaceX. All right. And we're putting SpaceX in the Russell 1000 with the little guys. That's funny. I mean, SpaceX, you know, we're talking, you know, it's going to be $1 trillion company. I don't think it belongs in the Russell personally, but that's fine. Iran-U.S. war latest. Tehran launches fresh attack on Israel as it vows crushing response to strikes in Lebanon. All right, here we go. Let's take a look, guys. See, as we go live, here stuff happens. Oh, we want to go to the news. We'll go here first because this here will go crazy. These guys will go crazy. No, nothing here. We'll try CNN. We'll try CNN. See if we got anything coming up in here yet. Yeah. Oh, here we go. So yeah, Israeli military says it intercepted missiles fired from Iran. All right. So yeah. We got missiles. We got missiles. Maybe that's a thing. You know what? It's funny. I think the market's going to be green. And then this happens. So, you know, if this escalates overnight, I'll throw the green. I'll throw the green out the window. It won't happen. Paul, S&P 500 said 12 months for SpaceX. Yeah, there we go. 12 months. King of Day, I've decided not to get in on SpaceX. It's very, very, very hard, but I'm staying strong and staying away. Wish me luck. Good luck. Paul, MSCI Global Investable Market Index says SpaceX is eligible for fast-track inclusion after 10 trading days for SpaceX. All right. And Len, hi, everyone. What do you think of CNQE as a single stock purchase? I think it's better than owning a tech single stock. So sorry, so CNQ. So of course, Canadian Natural Resources. I love Canadian Natural Resources. They're a great company, and oil is probably going to be up for a while. So if you were looking at a single stock and you wanted one that was not tech, this is not a bad option. It's not a bad option at all. In fact, we'll leave the war. And, whoops, QE, here we go. All right, let's pull it up. All right, now you might look and say, oh my God, it was down 3.67% on Friday. But, you know, a lot of things were down on Friday. If you just look at the last year, I mean, you can't go more than a year. You know, you can see that since the war, like its ramp up was big. Now it's kind of moving sideways, but it's not bad, and it's got a pretty half decent. I don't know if this yield is probably low because if you don't have, I find with TMX, if you don't have that full year, it kind of messes up the yield quite a bit because it normally calculates it as a trailing 12-month. And when you don't have the trailing 12-month, the data gets really messed up. So it does have a half-decent yield, definitely bigger than 13%. Scott, I can see Harvest creating a single stock ETF for SpaceX and adding it to HHIS. Yeah, it's already happening. Like quite literally. Quite literally. Give me a second here. Let's go to Harvest. All right, here we go. Harvest ETS, we'll go to their main page. And what do you see first? SPXE, SpaceX. So here it is. Whoops, well, it was there a second ago. Give me a second, let's get back to SpaceX. This is the press release on this one. So yeah, they have filed the preliminary prospectus. So it'll come out fairly soon, I would say. But yeah, it's going to be, it doesn't give us much information here other than the fact it'll be a single share, high income shares ETF, and it'll probably get included into HHIS. So if you're holding HHIS, you will probably get some exposure to SpaceX. It's, you know, it'll happen. There's no reason that they wouldn't. So I don't yet know what it's gonna, you know, I think there's going to be a lot of volatility with SpaceX initially. So you might be able to get a half decent yield out of it as well, Scott. All right. Paul, a bunch of others, SPCX might hold S&P 500 hostage and choose when to join the S&P 500 after the 12 months. That's a possibility that, you know, but I have a feeling he'll go. I have a feeling he'll want to get included as soon as he can. Me says, I requested 5 SpaceX on Wealthsimple. Didn't want to miss out on a historic moment. Exactly. And guys, if you want to request SpaceX over on Wealthsimple, because you can do it, you got to be on Wealthsimple. And here, I will drop my affiliate link here for you guys. So if you want to get in on the SpaceX at 135 USD at launch, because it could go up. It could go up. We're going to see. If you want to get on it, definitely grab that affiliate code. Head on over. Once you fund the account, by the way, I think it's $100. Once you put $100 in your account, they'll give you $25 free. They also send 25 at the channel. So it's win-win. Plus, there's a chance over there to be a millionaire and win big time. So you definitely want to check that out. Larry says, went long Doge 2x after hours. Ooh, what's Doge doing today? Let's take a look here and see. Oh, look at this. Doge is up 3.86%. That's not too shabby. Scott, Candace Google stuff. I like Googling stuff. And I also like drinking coffee. Many investors assume insiders can't sell for 6 months after an IPO. That's not the case with SpaceX. Some insider shares could begin unlocking shortly after the first earnings report. That is one of those interesting things. I even know with the Wealthsimple, if you buy through this IPO thing, I'm pretty sure you're locked in. I don't know the exact length of time. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. SpaceX is kind of, you know, Elon's kind of just deciding what the rules are, and everybody's kind of rolling in line and saying, "Yep, we'll do that for you." At least now, once SpaceX IPOs, he doesn't have anybody else to IPO. I don't think, because I think Neuralink and I think those are all under some of the current ones. So, Larry, a USA involved major fight won't happen until summer is over. Jets overheat. There's a really good point. Yeah. Speaking of jets, there's some pretty strong rumors going that it looks like Sweden is gonna get the Gripen deal with Canada. It's looking really likely. I think there was a reporter on the weekend who sort of spilled a little bit of it. But we'll see. It's still not official, but it does look strong that may happen. All right. PP, I like Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Don't get me wrong, but why SpaceX getting special treatment? Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, I don't think SpaceX should get any special treatment, but I think, if anything, it's simply the size of the company. I mean, I don't know if, is this, guys, maybe one of you will know this. Is the SpaceX IPO the largest in history? You know what? It's time to play Candace Google stuff. Let's, we're going to leave here and just go over to Google. All right. Is SpaceX IPO the largest in history? All right. I think it might be. I think it might be. And yes, it is. There we go. Largest in history. Largest in history. I love it. Larry says, with triple-digit heat in the Middle East, air becomes dense and thrust decreases along with ground crew issues. This is a really good point, because back in the Gulf War, there was a lot of issues in the summer. Like in the summer, there really wasn't a lot of stuff happening. So really the only real thing that they could be doing back and forth there in the summer is missiles. And missiles are expensive. So if anything, I think it's in the United States' best interest to try to calm things down for the summer. But that's definitely a potential. And hopefully the peace talks can maybe continue on, and maybe we could get a peace. I'm not holding my breath, though. Paul, normally IPOs happen early in a company's start. SpaceX is 24 years old. Yeah, no, absolutely. SpaceX was private for, its whole run. So yeah, SpaceX is not a new company. They've been around for a very, very long time. Some people need space from their ex. Darn it. Oh gosh. That's actually very funny. Is it Laughing Goat funny? Yeah, it is. It's Laughing Goat funny. Good one, Rory. Good one, Rory. Mark, thanks, Scott, for mentioning HHIS adding SpaceX. I have 5,410 shares of HHIS, so that alleviates my FOMO. There we go. XRP Bull, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Sunday. Yeah, it's a good Sunday. Remember, you can't flip IPO stocks through Wealthsimple or you'll be banned. Yeah, there is a time frame. Like, you have to hold it for such and such a time. I don't know what that is, though. I will say that. I do not know what that is. Now, when Scott says banned, I think it's not banned from Wealthsimple. It's banned from using their IPO service. PP, can SpaceX be part of the S&P 500 if it can't show profitability? There are criteria. Most of it is related to market cap. I don't know if profitability is in that criteria for the S&P. It's been ages since I've looked at the actual criteria to get in there. But here's the thing. I think SpaceX is doing better than you think. I mean, you got to look at the thing. SpaceX, look at Starlink. That's part of SpaceX. How many people are paying, how many countries are paying SpaceX for those satellites, for that internet access? A lot of people. They're making a ton of money every time they send a ship up, to people, to ferry astronauts up and down. They're not doing it for free. They're charging NASA a good chunk of cash. So I don't know what their profitability looks like, but I will just say this. I'm going to hold my judgment on that until we see the first quarterly report. And I'm looking forward to it. I really want to see it big time. Me says, Wealthsimple said that you're locked in for 90 days. Okay, there it is, 90 days. And you know what? Here's the thing. If you're not planning, like, I wouldn't be looking to swing trade. SpaceX. If I was going to get on SpaceX, it would be for a long-term hold, because I think SpaceX, I think there's so much potential in that company. I really think it will get big. I mean, it's already big. Just to put that into, put that into perspective. Paul, S&P 500 committees are old stogie guys, like Charlie Munger. Well, he's no longer an old stogie guy, but yeah, I get it. Lance, do monthly millionaire entries carry over? I have more than I did before the last draw. Yes and no. So your entries carry through the month, but you go back to zero at the beginning of the next month. So yeah, for 1 month, your entries just keep building until they have the $1 million draw. After the $1 million draw and they start over again, then you're back to square one. You're back to square one. Scott, yes, I saw the 90-day hold at Wealthsimple. Monthly millionaire entries are month by month. Yeah, exactly. Elisa is in the house with a hi, everyone. PP, according to the Google, SpaceX is not currently profitable overall, despite generating over 18.7 billion in revenue in 2025. And that might be true. I'm just saying I don't have the data. That's all I'm saying, PP, is I don't have the data, so I'm going to reserve looking at, because there's reasons for being unprofitable, and sometimes those reasons are not a bad thing. If you're expanding, that can sometimes push your cash flow into the negative. So I want to see the first quarterly report, and we'll go from there. Munger had some funny zinger. Munger was awesome. I mean, he was awesome. Absolutely. Mike says Brookfield Corporation has 1 billion stake in SpaceX. Oh, interesting. Oh my God, I actually caught up. A says USD to CAD increasing. Will this continue? What about high yield on long-term USD bonds? Will that lead to the USD falling eventually? It's a great question. So if we look right now, let's actually take a look and see where we're sitting. So right now we're sitting at right up here, $71.76. That's where we are compared to the US dollar. That's actually not a bad area to be right now. We actually have gone up a little bit over at least the last 24 hours. We're up 0.08%. So I don't know if it's going to continue falling. Let's just see. We'll have to sort of see what happens. I think this is the thing. It's really hard to call how a lot of this is going to happen while we have so much uncertainty with everything that's going on in the Middle East. Is it going to get worse? Are we going to finally get out of it? That's going to certainly impact things. I think it'll be good for the Canadian market if we both get a pause. Once again, not pause, but if both countries do not change their rates again, I think that's strong for the Canadian market. So right now, I'm actually not upset with where the Canadian dollar is. I'm okay with it being where it's at right now. But here's one thing I will say. A lot of times we like to have a lower Canadian dollar because it attracts a lot of US business. So with all of the stuff going on, though, with the tariffs and everything else, it's still important, but it's not as important as it used to be. Prairie, a few coworkers got Starlink. Said it fine if you have no other options, but if you do, they say it's not worth the money. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, I've never tried Starlink, so here's that thing. Where I think Starlink, though, is good is if you have some of these countries where they don't have any kind of internet infrastructure, then all of a sudden you have an option. I also think it's fantastic that, you'll be able to get internet access. Like if, let's say you got lost up near the North Pole, you'd actually be able to get internet access up there. Maybe get a message out and your GPS data out to say help. So, that's kind of a neat aspect of it. And it's also supposed to get better, but, like I said, I've never used it, so I can't really comment on the quality of it. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere and that's the only option you have, and that saves your life, then that's probably one of the best things you'll ever run into, right? Len, how often can we swing trade in a TFSA? I know the CRA expects you to use your TFSA for long-term investment. You shouldn't technically be swing trading in your TFSA. You can make really long swing trades, but you don't want to be swing trading in your TFSA. So, like for example, if you sell something, Well, here, let's just take a look at anything. So let's say you were holding NVIDIA. If you sold NVIDIA today, you don't want to buy it back for at least 30 days. That's because then that pulls you into that whole making money from it. So yeah, if you're in your TFSA, be very careful. In a lot of times what I would do is, like, if I was playing with NVIDIA and I wanted to swing trade it in my TFSA, I would sell NVIDIA, but I wouldn't buy them back. Maybe I'll buy Meta, maybe I'll buy Micron, maybe I'll buy Broadcom instead. So usually going to a different company. That way you don't get the CRA's ire when they look at you. But here's the thing, and this is kind of the scary thing, is that you can do everything right in your TFSA, with your taxes and all of that, but they do have random audits, and that doesn't, if that happens, that happens. I mean, that's just, I've never heard, like, I don't know of anybody who's had a random audit, but apparently they do random audits. I don't want to ever be the victim of a random audit, that's for sure. Larry says, I'm debating buying 1,000 shares of SpaceX every day for 10 days or all at once. There are only 500 million shares available, which is nothing. That's the thing. There's not a lot of shares available. So, how are they going to do? What are they going to do? Hopefully they don't just start printing shares. Like, if they start diluting shares to create a whole bunch of extra shares. Now, what they could do, and this is what I would think would probably be more likely, is they could start doing some share splits, some stock splits down the road, just to sort of create more. So that to me would be more realistic, but we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a fun one to watch. SCHD is a good US buy in my American account. Yeah, I like SCHD. Schwab, they make some good ETFs, definitely. Rory, are fund managers seeing if assets under management for SpaceX increases 100x before they add it? I don't know. I don't know what criteria that they're looking at. However, I'm going to be interviewing one, I think on Wednesday. So, maybe I'll ask. I've already got a few ideas for questions. Lance says, I thought I won the 25,000. I didn't know you could win entries. I got an email saying that I had a monthly millionaire prize to claim. I almost soiled my pants. Then I read the email. So you won entries? Really? Is that what you... I didn't know that. Somebody was telling me the other day that they got 100 entries or something, bonus entries, and I was just like, what? And they said by clicking on the winners thing. So I went in and I clicked on the winners thing, and all I got was, hey, sorry, you didn't win. That's all I got. I was like, what the heck? Rory, Wealthsimple dangles the carrot, then yanks it up. Whoops. Try again. Well, I mean, the reality is most people are not going to win. It's still nice, even if it's just entries, at least it's something. But poor Lance, I imagine Lance had a heart attack thinking, oh my God, 25,000. I want to hold my luck until it's the 1 million. That's the one I want to win. But we'll see. We'll see. There we go. Yeah, a 10x split would warm my heart. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. A split down the way for sure. So, what can we say? What can we say? Whew, that's good. I'm having iced coffee again because, like I said, it was kind of warmed. Oh, Prairie, it was you, Prairie. I mentioned receiving 1,000 additional entries. Now, did it come as a prize? That's kind of, because that would be interesting. Rory, my heart stops if I ever won $5 on the scratch and win. A, is the money from the monthly millionaire taxed? It is not. So in Canada, if you win money from a contest, it is not considered taxable income. So it's yours. However, you don't even have to report it. You don't even have to claim it. However, anything you make on it. So for example, if you won the $1 million and you just throw it in your account, obviously it wouldn't fit in your TFSA, all of the dividends coming in could be taxed. Anything that you grow from it, so any capital gains that you make, that could be taxed. So, but yeah, the actual amount, it's just like if you won 649, that's not taxed. Like if you won, if you won the 2.4 million or whatever, you get to keep the whole thing. It's just everything you make off of it gets taxed. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing because it's funny. I started scripting a video today on what if I won $1 million from Wealthsimple? What would I do? Um, the first thing I was thinking is, at first I was thinking, oh my gosh, what if it's taxed? Then do I have to break down how much the tax would probably be? And would I not have $1 million to play with? But then I double checked because I knew that 649, I knew how that one worked. So I double checked it, and yeah, it's like I said, it's tax free. So with that video, I get to play with $1 million. So I like that. Scott, I said that I thought it was everyone who clicked the link won 100 entries. I didn't get any special email about winning. Oh, that's interesting. Scratch. And I said that, I tried to say that with less enthusiasm because I have to save the enthusiastic Scratch for when Scratch is in the house. Maybe Scratch is here. I don't know. Lance, I guess I got lucky. I won 5,000 entries. Oh my gosh, Lance, you're on the way to the million. When I checked if I won the 25K, I received the entries. Yeah, I did that. I did that. And I got the little spinny thing. Oh boy. I didn't win. Rory, I'm still waiting for Ed McMahon's letter in the mail. Dang it. So Ed McMahon, do you guys remember? What was it? Clearinghouse sweepstakes. They used to, so Clearinghouse, basically they'd send you this thing. You didn't have to buy anything, but I think most people bought things because I think human psychology, you get to say, oh, you know what, if I buy one of these magazines, if I subscribe to, Better Homes and Gardens, I might have a better chance at getting Ed McMahon at my door. So yeah, they make so much. They make more than they give away from that campaign that they would have with Ed McMahon coming to your door. So, but yeah, good old Ed McMahon. And I don't even think they exist anymore. Clearinghouse sweepstakes. I think that's a gone away. It's like a dinosaur at this point. But nonetheless, I remember all the jokes. Paul, when some of us dump landline internet for Starlink, then you will know that SpaceX is doing well. Okay. And let's see, Scott, I guess checking on the winners is like spinning the coin. You can still spin the coin. The coin works. So you can spin the coin. It doesn't do anything. It just spins. But yeah. PP says, I never won anything in my life, so Monthly Millionaire doesn't excite me. Yeah, but PP, you haven't won anything yet. I'm not saying you're going to win. You probably aren't, but somebody has to. That's the thing. Somebody has to win. There's no reason it can't be you. It probably isn't going to be you, but there's no reason why it can't be you. And that's, I look at it that way. Like, because I'll tell you, I'll just say this because I will always, and nobody has said this yet, and I'm actually surprised. Nobody has said, oh, it's probably just rigged. One of their supporters, somebody special is going to win. If they ever did that and they got caught, that would be the end of Wealthsimple. I mean, it would be. So you don't do stuff like that. The only people who can get away with rigging stuff is like McDonald's, and McDonald's got into trouble over some of the Monopoly games many years ago, but they're big enough to survive it. Wealthsimple's not. All right, and Mary says, let's get to 40. Ooh, are we getting close to 40 now? See, I don't know. It's 31, guys. You know what? There's 55 of you here. I'm going to be brutal. Let's get to 50. Let's just do it. Rory, some of us way past 40. Oh, gosh. Rory's making a joke age. All right. I did forget to have a drink because Mary was here. Oh, so good. Larry says, I think the majority of the finance world is bullish on SpaceX, even if the evaluation is nuts right now. Everyone knows space exploration is the way. Yeah. Here's the thing, and I mentioned this before. When you look at SpaceX, if you add up their assets, their physical assets, the stuff you can touch, the stuff you can see, yeah, their valuation is out to lunch. But valuations aren't always built on the physical. A lot of time they're built on the potential. They're built on the promise. They're built on where that company is going, not where they've been. The stock market, it's forward facing. And that is what we're looking at with SpaceX. So, are they worth, one point, however many trillion? No, they're not. But could they be worth it? Yes, they could. And, space exploration is going to be huge. And earlier we talked about the shortage of helium. So there is one company, and I can't remember the name of the company, but they're hoping to have, I don't know how they plan to do it, but they're actually hoping to be mining helium-3 on the moon, I believe by 2028. So obviously it's not with people, it's probably with autonomous vehicles or something, but that's going to be a big frontier. There is, we have a helium shortage on Earth, tons of helium on the moon. So that might be the next big mining thing. All of a sudden, look at this, mining, space. No, we're not talking Armageddon. We're talking business. So yeah, I think space is going to be huge. Larry says, I think the majority of finance world is bullet. Wait a minute. Okay. All right. Larry says, I think the majority of the finance world is bullish on SpaceX, even if they wait a minute. Yeah. I already read this one. I'm sure I could have, maybe I didn't. All right. Okay. All right. A says, I won you won $15 on the Monthly Millionaire? Really? $15. All right. I did not know that they had little prizes. See, I'm learning something new. I didn't know that. That's cool. I mean, it's only $15, but that's you can get a canoe. You could get a canoe stock with that. I mean, unless you're Rory, because then you would sit there with the $15 waiting for canoe to get to a little low level and it would just miss it. But yeah. Larry, Ed McMahon means WWE to me. Wait a minute. World Wrestling. I was going to say wrestling, like a nuclear vessel. Yeah, World Wrestling. I don't know what the E stands for, because it used to be WWF, and then they got sued, I think, by the World Wildlife Foundation. But yeah, all right. Okay, so there's an Ed wrestler. Mary says, LOL, LOL. Ed, not Vince. $15 is not bad. I wish I won $3 instead of 1,000 entries. Yeah, I mean, but if PP, if you win the million, you'll change your mind very quickly, because what if one of those 3,000 entries is the one that gets drawn? I'm just saying. SpaceX updated the S1 IPO filing to increase share float, if I got the term correct, limit to 36 billion shares, enough to buy Tesla at a premium. Well, and I've heard rumors that Elon eventually wants to roll Tesla into SpaceX. It's actually not a bad idea. I don't know what kind of regulatory hoops it would have to jump through, but when you look at Tesla, take away the cars, but when you look at the robots and the AI part, I mean, those robots, SpaceX can use those robots. I mean, do you think? I will tell you this. I would bet the farm that robots will be walking on Mars, like humanoid robots, before humans. I would bet the farm on it. And if humans actually beat robots to Mars, then we're doing it wrong, in my opinion. All right. Everybody crowding into SpaceX just means other funds will be cheaper for me. Yeah, there you go. PP says 58 watching and only 8 likes. Oh, there's more than 8. You just have to refresh. Sometimes the likes on YouTube don't update unless you refresh it. That's why I have to refresh the test box. Like right now, I look at the test box, it shows me 31 likes. I'm just going to refresh that here, and we'll see what we got. We got 38. There we go. That's just one of those things that you gotta do. Now, if you don't have YouTube Premium, I usually say don't refresh it because then you're going to get hit with a fresh wave of ads. Paul says some people sold Tesla to request SpaceX shares at IPO. They might not get their whole SpaceX allocation, and their leftover money might flow back into Tesla or use leftover cash to buy SpaceX on the open market. Yeah, absolutely. Bismarcky says, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Ooh, so did you win a chicken dinner, Bismarcky? I know, it's just a saying, but I thought I would say that. Larry, an interesting thing about Tesla SpaceX is that people don't know which is that Tesla is its own construction company. Yeah. I mean, Tesla, they've got even right now, they've got some giant robot manufacturing facilities as well as cars. So yeah, I can agree. Rory says, I'll be laughing long and hard when Canoe hits $11, Candace. All right. Scott, I would have thought helium would escape the moon's gravity even more so than Earth. There must be a chemical process that's creating it. It's not floating on the moon, right? It's in the soil. You actually have to drill for it. So it's not, yeah, you're still liberating it. But yeah, you would have that same, well, for one, the moon has no atmosphere. So if you had any helium on the surface in gas form, it's just gone. There's no atmosphere. Rory says the sun. The sun has helium, yes. It's really hard to mine the sun, though. Paul, I like the other conversation number of USD CAD at 1.3939 when you have USD investments. The other conversion number. There you go. Larry says, I'm sure Musk would love to, so he can have a supermajority vote. And Rory, just like in Star Wars, Elon will have millions of robots with his likeness walking around. Are you talking like Stormtrooper? No, because those aren't robots. Just like in Star Wars. I'm not sure how that... Oh, like the clones. Like we're going back to the Clone Wars. Yeah, Elon will clone himself and put himself into... that would actually be funny. Well, could you imagine if Elon created a robot that had a little bit of biological brain in it, but then he just cloned his own brain and put it into... Oh my God. That's like a Black Mirror type episode, Rory. Black Mirror for sure. Scott, probably something to do with solar wind or other EM coming from the sun hitting the moon. That might be how the moon... Well, here, let's find out. We are going back to Candace. Whew, that was a sneeze. Back to Candace Google stuff. All right, wait a minute, where is Google? Hello, Google. Oh, that's my my opening page, that's why. All right, Google. I thought I went to Google. All right, how did the moon get... I want helium. There you go. Helium. Oh, that's misspelt, but that's fine. But here we go. So yeah, solar wind. Here we go. Dead on, Scott. Dead on. So yeah. But how did it... well, it's been bathed in the solar wind for a long time. So helium-3, guys, that's just an isotope. So basically, basically has like... does it have an extra proton? I'd have to look. I haven't really looked at that. So yeah, the moon got its from the solar wind over billions of years. These particles slammed to the lunar surface and became trapped in the top layer of lunar soil. So that's it. It's trapped in the soil. So you got to dig. mine, whatever, to get it out. But there you go. Oh, there's actually a picture. There's a picture of it. I don't know if it's a good picture. Oh, yeah, look at this. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is the company that's going to do it because I saw this picture. That's a extractor pulling helium-3 from the lunar surface. Well, I think that's what it's going to look like. That they don't have them up there yet, but yeah. So there we go. That's what's coming, guys. Faster than you might think. Paul, at SpaceX, no one can outvote Musk. He has the most of the 10x voting shares. Yeah, for now. For now, but now that once you go public, though, it may be more difficult to hold on to control. Larry, like the facility I worked at in Texas has contractors, but the building is actually made by Tesla's construction arm. Same with all the other buildings. Yeah, and Tesla built a town too in Texas. So, they definitely got construction people, and they've got their tunnels. Scott, did Candace just say Tesla is making giant robots? No, not giant robots. They're making a lot. They're making a lot of robots. Not. I don't want to give you the laughing goat. I don't want to give you the laughing goat for this because this was you making. Maybe I might have made this funny, but I did laugh. Fine. You can have the laughing goat. Oh boy. Paul, a Larry 2 SpaceX shares versus your 1,000 SpaceX shares. Mine are a rounding error. So you will mine the sun or else. Nope. I'm not mining the sun. I don't have SPF high enough. Rory, Candace gets googly. Yeah. It happens. Prairie. That's what Elon's chip implant is for, to control his clones. Oh. Oh, boy. Elon clone. Larry, Paul, they don't belong to me. They belong to my beloved shareholders. There we go. When requesting SpaceX IPO shares at Wealthsimple, they require 20% extra money. You should buy at least one for the 0 to 100K channel. Yeah, that's a thought. It's a thought. The only problem is the 0 to 100K is on a national bank. So, but I probably, maybe I will. I don't think I'll get it before the IPO though. Rory says he could send AI clones to mine Mars and build infrastructure enclosures to allow human life to live there. Well, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say AI clones, but yeah, you want to send your robots there, like quite literally. SpaceX can send a whole army of robots to Mars, and they can build everything. They can build all of the and test it, make sure everything is working before you send people there. You won't have to. You won't have to sort of go there and, face the danger, like the level of danger of trying to set everything up. It'll already be set up. All the supplies, you can keep sending the supplies. So you could easily, like when the first humans get there, you could already have like a year's worth of supplies there for your whole settlement. Definitely. Paul, you get the excess 20% back if the price doesn't go up. Oh, okay. The Elon Mars project. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. SpaceX was talking about data centers in space. I think it's not cost effective to do anything in space that you can do on Earth. It makes me lose faith in SpaceX. I didn't get it initially, and I don't think I still think it's a good idea. I think it's still talk. It's kind of like, oh, well, we'll just put data centers up in space. That'll avoid the whole cooling thing. But I think it's a lot more complicated. So you'll notice he doesn't talk about it that much anymore. I think Elon has kind of backed off on that one a little bit. Scott, roll back the tape and let's hear that again. Giant robot production. Oh, gosh. Well, all right. Here's what I said a giant robot. I did say that, but you're taking it out of context. I said like as in it's a giant it's a giant robot production, not a giant robot production. So in other words, it's a very large it's a very large robot. It's no. How can I say this without it sounding like they're making Godzilla-sized robots? It's a normal robot production site, but it's huge. Not the robot, the site. So the facility is huge. The giant, oh, you know what? Giant facility for robot production. There we go. There we go. Oh gosh. Nope, not the Alan Parsons project. Tiny Elon robot. Oh dear God. Scott, you've already gotten the goat. I can't give it to you again, but oh, what am I doing? Tiny Elon robot clones running around. Talk about a doomsday scenario. Yes. It's like women all over the world wake up pregnant. I don't know. Oh, God. All right. Whew, let's focus. Grundy, why do you think gold's been underperforming? Do you think it'll bounce back? Yes, I have a lot of faith in gold. So, you know, we've seen materials has absolutely been as volatile as can be since the beginning of this war. I think on the other side of it, it's going to bounce back. I think it will look pretty darn good. So I'm still bullish. I'm still bullish on gold, gold, silver, and copper. So that has not changed. So yeah, gold will bounce back. If anything, if you were looking to get in on gold at a better price, you've been getting it, and it might even come down a little more. So that'll be good. Rory, bring your sawed off Scott. All right, I like watching old TV shows to see how life used to be, but Rockford Files came out in 1974 when I was 7 years old. As a kid, you never knew what adults went through then. There you go. And as I mentioned, they are coming out with a brand new Rockford Files. David Boreanaz is going to be playing the lead in that one. Rosie says, ha 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 ha. All right, oh, it's probably the giant robot thing again. Oh, gosh. Ian, I think Elon talked about data centers in space. It was to get on the AI hype. It might have been. It might have been, for sure. Absolutely. Whew, so good. All right, Prairie. Manitoba Premier announced on Friday that the proposed data center south of Winnipeg will not be allowed, citing environmental concerns. And there has been pushback. Like, there's a lot of people, especially in the United States. You know, there's some in Canada for sure, but in the United States, there's been a lot of people pushing back. Like, a lot of people are like, all of a sudden, data centers show up near their community, and you know they're pretty noisy. They're also, you know, they also produce this. They do produce greenhouse gases. I'm not gonna try to hide that. So yeah, they're not the best for the environment. So I can understand why. You know, and this is what I say: where you should be putting them. We got a lot of land up north that, you know, that you could certainly put them up there. But at the same time, I also would like to see, and this is where quantum comes in, guys. Like some of the early research in, you know, in developing quantum chips is that they are going to be able to do what current data centers do. Once you can create a data center entirely of quantum chips, you're going to be able to do 1,000, 10,000, 1,000,000 times more than that original data center with a fraction of the power, a fraction of the pollution. So there's, you know, and that may sound pretty far out there, but, you know, there's a lot of really interesting research that has been coming out in terms of quantum and power. And it could be really interesting. Now, what would suck in a way, and this is what does kind of maybe suck for a lot of the big tech companies, is imagine after you've sunk all this money into making these massive power centers, you know, data centers. Imagine all of a sudden these quantum chips come along and say, "Oh yeah, we can We can make a small one that's 100 times more powerful than that and take up almost no electricity. That's kind of one of the dangers, I guess, of what they're doing. Rory, Regina is going ahead with their data center, I think. Larry, the thing with data centers in space is I believe the Tesla, NVIDIA, Saudi company that is IPOing will handle it. Maybe. You know, my biggest concerns was where they're getting power, and just because of the amount of the amount of solar panels they would need for the amount of power that that the satellite would need. So there were some issues with that and with cooling, and it's kind of an interesting thing. But because here's the thing, like space itself is not cold, and that probably sounds like a weird thing to say, but it's just that, and the reason it's not cold is that you can't really conduct, there's no conduction, right? Because you need a medium to be able to actually experience cold per se. So if you had something just sitting in space, if there's nothing interacting with it, if nothing's hitting it, it technically is whatever the temperature of it is. But at the same time, it's really complicated. It's insanely complicated. And I'm trying to think of how not to get into that. Probably I should just leave space alone. I should leave space alone. But and it's kind of that thing. Like there's extremes, right? Like if you have heat coming at you, so if you're getting hit by solar energy, that's a different story, right? You're getting hit. So it's kind of funny. Like you could take, if you were to take an astronaut and just float them in space, and they're facing the sun, the front of them is crazy levels of heat. The back of them is crazy levels of not heat, and that's probably the better thing to say. I don't want to use the word cold. So it's either you have heat or you don't have heat. It's kind of like it's that lack of heat, because basically all it is how many molecules are moving around. That sort of creates the concept of heat. But anyway, Ian says, I saw a guy talking about SpaceX buying Cybertrucks from Tesla at above market value to boost Tesla shares. I'm not a fan of Elon's business practices. That's, I would question that. I would question that. Like if they're doing that, they shouldn't be doing that. And that's the thing. But here's the thing. Right now, Tesla can do that and get away with it because they don't have to report it to the public. But after the IPO, then they're under scrutiny, and those things have to go into the public, into their quarterlies. So yeah, Tesla's not going to be able to get away, or sorry, SpaceX won't be able to get away with stuff like that if they're doing it. Rory, nothing gets built in Manitoba, it seems. Wealthsimple, I got 500 entries. Oh, like you won an additional 500, Paul? Awesome. Manitoba Premier is really pushing for rebuilding, expanding the Churchill port. Yeah. Here's the thing. My only issue with the Churchill port is just that, you don't have access to it all year round. But, with global warming and or climate change, whatever we're calling it nowadays, I think we do end up getting more ice-free days than we used to. Oh gosh, we got to do this, don't we? It's time to Google something. All right, let's see. How many ice-free days in Churchill, Manitoba? I'm just going to put Manitoba. Well, it should know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see. Okay, so right now we're looking at about, that's about half. Yeah, it's not even half. So less than half of, 150 to 170 days per year. Let's see. So, but apparently it says it has increased significantly. Okay, so I guess if we keep screwing up the planet, it'll get even better. But that's only half, and that's the one problem. Like, yeah, during the summer, it could definitely be a fantastic port. It's not ideal, obviously. If I wanted Eastern oil, if I wanted to ship it out Eastern, I would rather a port that, has access to the Atlantic all year round. But nonetheless, it's still a good amount. It's still a good amount of time. And maybe, and I don't know. This is something I don't know. Could you, even though it's only ice free, 150 to 170, can you use icebreakers up there? Can you use icebreakers to make it, well, here, let me ask. Show more. I should have an extra. Okay, ask me anything. All right, can we extend that with icebreakers? Let's see what we get. It's kind of cute, kind of interesting. So it says, all right, theoretically, it could extend it to, 365 days. So maybe that's what they're thinking. Maybe icebreakers, but at the same time, that's kind of dangerous because, you would pretty much have to have an icebreaker in front of an oil vessel. I don't know if I'd want to, if I would want to, try to ship oil without the icebreaker in front because, it doesn't take long for ice to start reforming. And, well, we know what happened to the Titanic. Larry says space oil. Ooh, space oil. There's the thing, though, guys. When we talk a lot about green energy and natural energy, wind, solar. Well, think about Mars. We're not going to have oil. The only way we'll have oil in Mars is if we ship oil to Mars. That to me sounds ludicrously expensive. So pretty much on Mars, it's going to be 100% green. You're going to have a few options. You're going to have, you have lots of wind. There's lots of wind on Mars. Although you get sandstorms, and could those kind of guck up your, if you put up the windmills? Oh, that would annoy Donald Trump to put windmills on Mars. Oh, please do it, Elon. Solar, once again, though, the sand becomes a problem, right? If you put a bunch of solar panels up there, you're going to have to clean them off when sandstorms come through and cover up, because that's kind of the issue that they had with the rovers, right? Is sand eventually, gets all over their solar panels until they can't function anymore. The other option is nuclear. You'd have to bring everything up to build it, but nuclear would work fine on Mars. There's no reason there, and I'm sure you could find a place to dump any waste. Will Hamilton's QMVP ETF add SpaceX? Good question. Probably eventually, but I don't think with Hamilton, I don't see them adding it right away. But yeah, I could see SpaceX eventually making its way into it. Scott, they need to fix the water usage problem for the data centers. I'm not sure why it's necessary to use a cooling system that's not closed loop. Just dump a radiator in deep water and cycle water through it. The other thing too, and this is why I keep saying, if you want to build data centers, put them further up north in Canada. Because, at least part of the year, you wouldn't really, you could pretty much funnel air through some kind of a cooling system and keep things cool. So there's, and it's not just Canada, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia. All of these countries have some really good places where you could, for half of the year, use very little electricity to keep things cool. So that's just a thought. Spoil. If space was cold, the Apollo astronauts would have froze. Yeah. Unless they didn't go there. Oh my gosh. The moon is not flat, guys. Or the earth is not flat. And I'll just say, when it comes to the earth, I've been pretty high up in an airplane and I could see the curvature. I could see the curvature. So I have zero doubt. And you could argue and say, oh, well, that's just an illusion. No, I'm sorry. I respect everybody here. I respect flat earthers, but I don't have to agree with them. And I'm not saying that red is flat earther. Just red made me think of flat Earth for a second. Red's not a flat earther, I don't think. Unless you are, then hey, go you. Um, let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, majority sell of those trucks are for SpaceX. There we go. Well, maybe in space they don't care if your truck is ugly. Oh, that's funny. Scott, the ISS has giant radiators to bleed off excess heat. A space data center would require even larger ones. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think the crisis on the space station, I think that has actually been solved. I think that the astronauts are no longer in the Dragon, and they're now back in the space station. So I assume the Russian cosmonauts got their air leak fixed. We have icebreakers. We do. Comets are mostly ice. Correct. Absolutely. Comets also move really fast. They do. HBC traded in Hud Bay since 1690. Oh gosh, yes. I feel like you guys are Googling stuff now. But it's awesome. TA, I prefer trading unhedged funds. However, I see that unhedged versions often have much smaller assets under managed compared to hedged versions. For example, QQQT versus QQQT.B. What are your thoughts? Yeah, it's true. And I think part of it is that a lot of people, like a lot of your, especially retail investors, they don't really, a lot of them don't even realize that there are other options. So a lot of them will just grab, they'll grab the QQQT. They won't grab the QQQT.B, for example. And even like I just did a deep dive on QQQT actually, QQQT and QQQY, a lot of Qs. Um, I didn't even mention the .B version because honestly, most of you don't. I'm not saying all of you, but a lot of you don't care about that version. You just want the regular version, hedged in Canadian dollars. You're fine. You just buy it, And if you're holding it long term, it really doesn't matter. And obviously, with the QQQY, I don't think it matters either because you're going into that one for income. So anyway, guys, if you have not yet seen that video, please watch that one. It is. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there about the NASDAQ, which I think is really, really interesting. All right. Rory says, see you Monday. I'm off. Bye, Rory. We will see you Monday. What time is it? Oh, we still got a half an hour till the oil starts pouring in. TTT3, maybe we can mine stuff on Mars. Probably, yes. Mars will more than likely have a lot of the same resources that Earth has. So, we will probably find gold, silver, lithium. I mean, it's probably all there. But, how deep is it? How hard is it going to be to get it out? That'll be the thing. That'll be the thing for sure. But there will be mining on Mars. Scott says, I think there are only certain pairs of Hudson Bays that are navigatable due to the depth. Well, here's the thing, though, with Hudson Bay, right? Obviously, at some point, like I don't know, when it freezes over, does it freeze the whole Hudson Bay, or is it just near the shores? Is it, is there like maybe a channel of water somewhere's out towards the middle? Now I guess we need to ask. All right, does the whole Hudson Bay freeze over? All right, let's see. This is because I honestly don't know. I don't know what I'm about to see. Oh, it does. Look at that. I guess it's pretty cold up there. So yeah, no, it does. It completely freezes over. Okay. 1.2 million square kilometers. That's a lot. So why low salinity? Oh, that explains it. All right, because I was thinking I was thinking salt water, right? If it was hot, well, normal density of salt. So yeah, but yeah, all of the glaciers and things melting are probably going into there as well. So, and it's pretty shallow and mostly landlocked. Okay, makes sense. I got it. I got it. I'm on board now. Larry says, what I don't understand is this dark matter thing that is supposedly around the planet preventing people from going through. How do we get past it? Dark matter. Well, there's dark matter and then there's dark energy. There's two of these things, but are you just talking about space, Larry? I think you're trolling. Because I was about to go off talking about the difference between dark matter and dark energy. But yeah, we just move through it. We move through it. The big thing is with space right now is we have to, first of all, we need to move faster than what we can do. So that would be one of those things, because with Mars, you can't just leave whenever you want to head to Mars. You want to make sure that, first of all, you want to make sure that Earth and Mars are kind of lined up. Because if sometimes we're both on opposite sides of the sun, that'd be a terrible time to try to go to Mars. You have to go when we're both on the same side of the sun. So you get windows of where that happens, and you might say, well, wait a minute. Well, why do we get these windows? And it's simply because, we move at different speeds around the moon. So we line up every so often. And that's kind of that's why there's if you go to Mars, you're there for a couple of years. You're not going to just go, check it out and say, oh yeah, this is awesome, let's head back. That's not happening. You're going to Mars, you're going to be there a couple of years before you come back. Simple as that. You've got windows that you have to use. Oh boy. All right, Red, they could drill a hole into Mars to release an atmosphere. I think you've been watching Total Recall. The problem is, right, there's a few different problems. One, because the gravity is lower on Mars, it does struggle to hold an atmosphere a little bit. Could you actually create, it has an atmosphere. I don't want to say that it doesn't. It has an atmosphere. It's just a very thin atmosphere. Could you sort of go there and create, let's say you try to global warm it, try to pump a whole bunch of carbon dioxide up there, try to warm up the planet. Could you terraform Mars? Theoretically, you could. I think it will take a lot to do that. I don't think it's something that we could just go there and do. That would be more of, I think, of a generational thing, because it would take time too. If you were going to terraform Mars in that way, it will definitely take a lot of time. And Scott says dark matter isn't a thing. We just don't understand space-time properly. Right, but keep in mind, dark matter, it's not saying that it's black matter. It's just that there's mass that the current equations predict for the universe that we're not able to reconcile with the observable data or the observable matter that's out there. So they call it dark matter because they don't know what it is. So could it be just a space-time property? Sure, why not? I want to say a space-time property, but it could be something fundamental with that universe that we just haven't figured out yet. Absolutely. And same idea, dark energy. Basically, with dark energy, the universe is expanding. Everybody thought when the universe was expanding that it would slow down, stop, and come back. That's not what's happening. Once we got better technology to measure it, we've actually found that it's accelerating. So things are moving ahead faster and faster. And, why? What's powering it? We don't know what's powering it. We call that energy that's pulling the universe apart and accelerating it, we call it dark energy. So dark, in terms of astrophysics, it just means that we don't understand it. So if we ever have, and maybe we'll have something else. We used to only have dark matter. Then we got dark energy. Maybe there'll be another dark that gets added as we figure out something we don't understand. Prairie. See, just Googled, is there oil in space? Instead of liquid oil, other celestial bodies possess massive quantities of simpler organic molecules like methane and ethane in solid or liquid or solid form. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, you could get methane, ethane. Yeah, there are definitely chemicals out there. And some of them could be used for burning. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You just don't get your hydrocarbons, at least here. Now, let's just say, let's say we discover that there's life on Europa, even if it's just microscopic. If that microscopic life on Europa had been there for millions and millions of years, there could potentially be something oil-like that may have developed, because you got to look at it with Europa, the ocean that's underneath the ice. It's a high pressure system right there. So, there could be something. Absolutely. And I'm not saying that there's no oil anywhere else in the universe. If there's been life there, there's probably something. Larry says, what's the radioactive or whatever goobly goop that people shouldn't pass? Supposedly it's something else. You're probably thinking of the Van Allen radiation belts. Well, part of it is, so around the Earth, we have, and this is the Van Allen radiation belt. So there's a big magnetic protection. Once you go beyond that, you are getting pure cosmic rays from the sun, full solar wind. So yeah, that is technically bad for people. Now the moon is actually still kind of is actually within some of the outer layers of the magnetic, when you get to the really, really nitty gritty. So, astronauts are fine going to the moon, although they do get higher radiation going to the moon than definitely in low Earth orbit. Going to Mars, you do have to go out into the 100% cosmic rays, 100%, whatever's coming off the sun, the solar wind. So, that is one of the things, one of the considerations with whatever vessel is going to take people to Mars. It may not be a consideration for the robots, though, but taking people to Mars, you're going to definitely need to, you're going to need to protect them from that energy for sure. Scott, that's caused by charged particles interacting with Earth's magnetic field. I think when computer technology advances, the cooling won't be that big of a deal. I'm basically holding the equivalent of an early 90s computer in my hand right now. You're right, Ian. And that's kind of where the next step. Once quantum gets there, quantum will be able to do things with a lot less power. So you're right, 100%. Red says the Van Allen radiation belt is a myth. Larry's calling it the ice wall. Do we have White Walkers on the other side? It's not a myth. It's just not as harmful as was originally thought. Gonna look into space things now. I have zero understanding. So the radiation belt just follows us as we rotate around the sun. Well, it's actually created from the Earth itself. It's created from the magnetic field that generates out of the Earth. Let's see. Asteroid belt, do you know? Do you mean? All right. I have no clue. I just heard people can't get past it. Allegedly. It's not that people can't get past it. It's just that it's very, very, very dangerous. So once we get if we get the shielding right, yeah, you can go past it. Let's see. It's charged particles trapped by the Earth's magnetic field. Yes, it follows us. For some belts, do you need a key? No, that's a chastity belt, Red. Scott says the chastity type have nothing to do with space. Getting past one and they will follow you around like radiation. Oh boy. Scott, it's not directly the size of Mars. That's an issue with holding an atmosphere. It's a lack of magnetic field to stop the solar wind from blowing it away. Yeah, it is more complicated than just the gravity. So yeah, you got the gravity, you've got the, yeah, you don't have the same magnetic field that we have on Earth. At least it's interesting. They recently found a magnetic field. I think it was on one of the moons, not of Mars, but I'm trying to remember which moon it was. I don't know. But you need oxygen to burn stuff. Well, you do. Yeah, you also need oxygen to breathe. So that's the thing with Mars, is you got to bring your oxygen with you. Now, once you get there, is there oxygen on Mars? Sure there is. But is it breathable oxygen? No, not really. Well, there's water on Mars. So water is, hydrogen, oxygen. So you could create oxygen from that. And that's going to be the whole thing. Like, how can we if we can create a cheap source of oxygen on Mars, that would be fantastic. Then we don't have to haul it from Earth. Scott, the gas giants in our solar system are mostly hydrocarbons like methane and ethane. Yeah, they're, you know, it's kind of a funny thing. I've never been to one, but yeah, they're definitely pretty cool for sure. Oh my God, I've actually caught up. This is great. I get to have a drink. BYOA, bring your own air. Yeah. Scott, and hydrogen and oxygen can also be rocket fuel. Yes, that is true. That's one of the things. So when you look at what NASA's doing, like, obviously the next step is going to be a base on the moon. Although I'll tell you, Elon actually isn't for the base on the moon. He wants to go straight to Mars. But if you set up a base on the moon, and if you're able to start, let's say you can actually create rocket fuel because we got water on the moon. If you could create rocket fuel on the moon, it's a lot less gravity to get it up into space. So you wouldn't need as much to get things. You could use it as like a launching pad to other locations in the solar system. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Red, EU is taking in more Russian gas. Will that affect our LNG industry? Um, right now, I think our LNG industry is absolutely fine, and I think there's going to be a higher demand. So I'm pretty bullish on it right now. Like, you got to look at the right now because of just the damage to this facility in Qatar. You're looking at, I think it's roughly 25% of the world's LNG just is going to be gone for a while. Now, mind you, there are other countries that produce LNG and they have been ramping up production, so it is certainly helping. But nonetheless, there's going to be a big shortage for a while. So yeah, no, I mean Canada right now we've got new customers. We're selling it to China. We're selling it to I think South Korea. Also, I heard India as well. So there's going to be a big demand for it. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. All right, guys, it's almost time for the market to give us our oil for the day. Let's see here. We're going to come over and take a look and see where we're at. So here's the WTI. So yeah, this was kind of Friday. Definitely down. So I do think we are going to open a little higher. So, just my thought. I think we will open a little bit higher. And Scott says, we just signed an agreement with Germany for our LNG. Yeah, we also have an agreement with Germany for hydrogen. They want some clean Canadian hydrogen. Well, green, as in green hydrogen. So there's a facility that, I don't know if it's operational yet or not, but there's a facility that's being built in Newfoundland that's going to produce a whole bunch of green hydrogen, and there's a big deal to send some of that over to Germany. Now, that was a deal that was struck back in the Trudeau days, but, yeah. And that's kind of a big thing. Now, and quite literally, guys, any type of energy that's not oil or even natural gas, I think it's all going to get a bit of a boost. So, solar, wind energy, I think it's all going to get a boost. Maybe not so much in the United States as, Donald Trump gets a little bit angry if he sees a windmill. Let's see. Scott says, unfortunately, it needs to go through the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal, yes. Trump seems to have forgotten that he's made threats about the Panama Canal. It's off of his radar at the moment. So, and I have a feeling Canada will be back on his radar as we get closer to the CUSMA negotiations, because those are coming up next month. So that'll be interesting. Oh, let's actually quickly go back here to where is it? CNN. I just want to take a look and see if we got any more update here from this. I think it just refreshed, but I'll refresh it again. Yeah. So right now it's just Iran firing missiles at Israel. Nothing really new happening there. Okay. So will this cause this to shoot up here? Will we get a movement up here? How high could it open? How high can we gap? How high can we gap? That is going to be cool. Canal. Oh, yes. Trump wants the Suez Canal. I think if Trump had his way, he would want the world. He's got a, you know, and I don't know what it is. I think it's just that he wants to be remembered as somebody who expanded the United States. So I think before his term is done, he wants to take something. You know, it won't be, obviously, it's not going to be Canada, but, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get Greenland. So, Cuba. Maybe Cuba will become an American territory. I doubt it, but he might try. And that's the thing. I think Cuba could probably get pretty messy. Scott says he has to find it first. Yeah, Trump trying to find the Suez Canal. That'd be funny. It'd be like his advisors. No, it's not in Arkansas. So, Egypt double the size of the canal. Did they double it? I hope they did. The whole issue that we had there with that ship getting stuck. You don't want that. You don't want that. And even with the Hormuz, I'm glad to hear that we've got a few other options to get oil out of there. But I'd like to see, and I know there's one company that wants to put a tunnel. I don't know how it's going to, not a tunnel per se, but sort of a canal that sort of cuts off the, I think it's in the UAE. But, it would be difficult because it's a lot of mountains. But, heck, I'd be all for it. Let's see. Then the CIA created the Houthis myth. Oh boy, red. You got a lot of theories today. The CIA. I don't know what the CIA did. The CIA. They do whatever it is they want, I guess. Scott says, I think there's an island he can buy, formerly owned by Epstein. Someone. You know what would be interesting? You know what I want to see? Nobody's talked about this. Nobody. I don't want to see the Epstein list. I want to see Epstein's will. Who did he leave that island to? I'm just saying, what did he leave to his good buddy, his good buddy Donald? Did he leave him anything? That'd be, nobody's ever mentioned his will. I don't know. Unless it all just went to, what was it, Ghislaine Maxwell girl? Unless she got everything. I don't know. Red, Egypt must have borrowed money, issued bonds. Trump wants to bankrupt the canal. Nothing surprises me. XRP, environmental approvals, provincial, federal, and even municipal, are likely required for using surface water, Great Lakes, rivers, Hudson's Bay, etc. for data centers. Yeah. I can see that. 64 and 46. Wow, that's a very interesting. Yeah, and that's the thing. People are pushing back against AI. And you know what's really funny? If you look at the demographics of the people pushing back against AI, it's not who you would think. It's not the boomers pushing back. It's not the Gen Xers. It's not even the millennials. But it's the Zoomers and Gen Alpha. Well, Gen Alpha is not really old enough to push back, but it's the Zoomers that are pushing back, which is weird. Because normally when there's new technology, the younger generations are usually the first to jump on board, full scale. But no, a lot of the pushback has been coming from the younger people, just saying, nope, you're not going to destroy our future. Let's see. Water evaporation while cooling data centers, ambient heating increases impacts of fish habitats. Industrial discharge, specifically if not closed loops. So many things to consider. Yeah. Oh no, it's it's not ideal. That's the problem. Obviously, we need better technology. And, you could argue that AI might be the thing to give us that technology. But, yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. And a lot of the AI companies, so, your open AIs and such, Anthropic, a lot of them are just like they're on a race to get somewhere. Well, we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get to artificial general intelligence. Because they kind of need to. Otherwise, You know, otherwise this bubble that we all say they're not in, otherwise it becomes real, and then it does become something that might pop. So it's kind of that movement, you know, towards a goal where they'll, like I said, you're not gonna get that crash that everybody's expecting, because they will continually just prop up each other, as long as it takes to get to AGI. And let's see what I'm just curious to see what happens once we get there. You know, and I know a lot of the experts, everybody will tell you, oh, we've already got it. We don't. A lot of people think we'll have it by about 2027, 2028. I think we might see it by 2030, because, you know, I mean, I look at the AIs today, just compare them to the AIs from a year ago, 2 years ago. They're a lot more smart. They're a lot more intelligent. They're improving really fast. Let's see, TTT3, he left a lot of money to a lady who has a hold from him. Has a hold. Build the data centers underwater. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if that would, I mean, conceivably, you might be able to do that. There might be a whole bunch of engineering involved around it, but a child. Oh, a lady who has a child from him. Oh, okay. Scott, I don't know. We had our own LLM company called Cohere. Do we really? I think I've heard of Cohere. Is that Canadian? Let's find out. All right, we can leave Harvest. Cohere. Let's take a look. Yeah, you know what? I thought that was in the Cohere. I'm going to put Canada. There we go. So the platform for financial AI. Oh, is that what it does? Financial AI. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I thought it was I thought they mentioned Cohere within the whole Canadian sovereign AI thing. So maybe. All right, Cohere. Yeah. Scott, Candace Google stuff. I do. I'll Google. You know. Well, I mean, if you don't know what something is, right? Google it. At least, you know. At least we still can. There's a dog outside barking. Can you guys actually hear this dog? I think it stopped now. But the second I pointed it out, it stops. But, oh well. But let me know if you heard that dog barking, because I'm kind of curious to know whether this mic will pick that up. I don't know. I mean, I picked it up with my ears, but I don't know if the mic picked it up. That was a dog. What can I say? All right. Whew. Oh, that's good. I'm almost out of coffee, guys. I'm almost out of coffee. We got about 30 minutes left. Mark heard the dog barking. Okay. All right, I'll close the window next time, guys. Yeah. I don't know what the dog was barking at, but nonetheless, at least we now know. My mic's a little better than I thought. Well, it's actually pretty good. Well, actually, you know what? If I put the muffler on it, it probably wouldn't hear it, because the muffler does kill a bunch of stuff. So we'll have to see. Maybe next time we'll put the muffler on it. Scott says, I also just recently found out how rare rhodium is. Rhodium. I don't know how rare rhodium is. I know it's on the periodic table. I just don't think, is it RH? All right, let's find out together. Whoops. Oh, that's because it did that. All right, it did that thing. Let's just go. Actually, here, let's kill this one too. I don't need a whole bunch of windows open. All right, rhodium. Now, is it radioactive? No, it's probably not. All right, let's just take a look here and take a look. So yeah, okay, so it's a precious metal. It's corrosion resistant. Okay, that's good. Gold is corrosion resistant. One of the reasons that gold is so, but it's also electrical conductive. So this one may not be electrically, but let's see here. It's a byproduct of nickel and, okay, so it's obviously not radioactive. All right, let's see. What do they use it? I don't know. I don't even know where they use it for. It's used, mostly in the automotive industry. So it's irreplaceable in a three-way catalytic converter. Okay, nitrogen oxide into nitrogen and gas. Oh, okay. It's industrial catalyst, and okay, and then also in jewelry. Okay. Okay, so basically provide a bright, highly reflective, and tarnish resistant finish, and a little bit in electronics. But it has low electrical resistance and durability, make it ideal for electric contacts, electrical optical mirrors. Oh, okay, there we go. But it is here. It is 100. Look at this. It's roughly 100 times rarer than gold. It's probably why we don't talk about rhodium that much, right? Nobody's talking about it. Okay, interesting. And most of it's in South Africa, with Russia supplying most of the remaining. So South Africa and Russia seem to have a big market on rhodium. All right, interesting. Okay, cool. Mark says keep the window open, makes it feel real. Oh, okay. Hey, you know what? I can do that on the Sunday shows. Well, not in the winter, but in the summer, yeah, I have no problem. Unless it's really hot outside, right, and there's heat flying in through the window, well, that'd be another reason not. France is de-Googling itself. They have a new browser called Quant. Quant. All right, let's Google Quant. I don't know what Quant is. It's a browser. Is it what? QW? Qwant. Oh, it may not be Quant. It might be Qwant. The search engine that values you as a user. Okay, let's pull this. I'm pretty sure I've heard of it before. The search engine that values you as a user, not as a product. Oh, okay. You know what I've never done before? I've never quanted myself. Oh, God. All right. I'm going to quant myself on the air. Why not? Let's look at the things that pop up. When I type in Candace Mountain, I got me, Candace Mountain. I got Candy Mountain. I got Cadence Mountainside Fitness. Candy Mountain Charlie. That's a unicorn thing. I've heard about that. Candy Mountain song. Candy Mountain Charlie the unicorn. Candy Mountain Massacre. Oh, geez. All right, let's just stick to here. Oh, look at this. We got Mountain Finance right at the top. All right. This is cool, and I'll tell you why this is cool. Because it doesn't know anything about me. So it's just fresh. Fresh. All right, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. All right, okay. Oh, yeah, look, I'm dominating it. I'm dominating it. Well, except for this. iPolitics. Oh, that's about the Trans Mountain Board. Okay, well, I'm not a pipeline. But there we go. Look at that. An interview with me on a blog. Great. Okay, anyway, there we go. XR people, would you be worried if CMCL goes down by like 10% or even 20%, for example? Materials are volatile, aren't they? I wouldn't be worried. I like what CMCL does, and in fact, if it went down 20%, I'd just be buying more. I like this ETF a lot. Scott, Google used to have the slogan "Do no harm. Let's see how long Quant values us." All right, fair enough. But there we go, Quant. I like it. Not to say I'm going to start using it, but honestly, I probably Google the most on the air. Probably on the air. So, all right, let's get back over to oil. We should be minutes away from getting some oil data. All right. We don't have anything yet from Brent. All right. Yeah, these should be moving fairly soon. So let's see what happens. Oh, if we had time, we should do a poll. But we don't have the time. We've got quite literally a minute and a half until we might start seeing some data flow over. It's hard to say. A lot of times I find Brent starts moving first and then WTI a couple minutes later, but I know some of you are watching futures right now, so we'll see what this is going to look like. Scott says Brent used to work at Corner Gas. Was that the name of the main character? I never actually, I think I watched maybe one or two episodes of Corner Gas, but that was about it. I know, bad Canadian. Bad Canadian. I've also not watched Schitt's Creek. So, you know, I, it's just one of those things. It never caught my attention during the pandemic, and it's probably because during the pandemic, my attention was entirely 100% on getting this channel off the ground. XRP, I'm looking to add CMCL, but I am still debating. I remember you noted to wait a while for new ETFs, but seems CMCL is an exception. Well, I like CMCL. I like what they're doing, but here's the beautiful thing. If you get in right now, it's actually lower. I think it is, I believe it's lower than when it launched. So here, let me take a look here. CMCL. Yeah, like it dropped big time. It dropped 7.75% here on Friday. But that just created, well, yeah, look, like here's where it launched. It launched here. It opened at, well, it officially launched at $20. Now we're at $17.85. So this is a great place to buy some more. This is a great place to open a position. I do like this one. Be patient though. Like be patient. Until this war's over, you're going to get a lot of volatility in materials. But I think materials will be fine on the other end as we put our focus back where it should be, infrastructure. All right. Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what I was saying. Remember earlier, guys, I said we're going to have our green market earmuffs. So rally on Monday, then red on Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, because of course we got the rate decisions coming out. Then I think SpaceX will actually cause a green day. So I think we'll get green on both ends of the week. A lot of volatility in the middle. Larry calls it a suckers rally. Well, it could be. It could be. But you guys are smart. You guys will follow it the smart way. And guys, we might have some data. Let's take a quick gander and see. Oh, look at this. We do get our gap up. So WTI, it gapped up to $94.91 a barrel. So that there is a 3.32% jump. And Brent also jumped up here, 2.94. And we were expecting this. And also, if you think about it, I think even on Friday, I think oil went down further than it probably deserved to go. So let's take a look and see where this goes overnight. And that'll be one of the data points I'll be watching going into tomorrow, is the price of oil. I'm also going to see what the other markets do as they open. Like I'll look at China, Europe, of course. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I still think we're going to get a green day tomorrow, and which is good because I've got a few swings that I think will move. Will I be able to get out of them tomorrow? I don't know, but I'm okay with it. I mean, they're longer term swings. I can hold out. I can hold out for quite a while. So yeah, awesome. So now we've got our first signs of what's going on. Scott says, I dropped more than 30K on Friday. Only on paper, though, I got a 1.5 year buffer for recovery. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, look at this. It's continuing to go up here. So Brent up at 335. Let's take a look at WTI. Is it doing? Yeah, it's pumping up a little bit too. So yeah, we could see an interesting day tomorrow. Now this will be good for the Canadian market too, because obviously our oil sector was down a little bit. Well, here, you can take a look. We still have Friday's market. You can sort of see down in materials. Materials is that other area too. What are we doing in materials right now? So I'm just taking a look here. So right now, gold is down a little bit. Gold's down 0.13. Silver's down. Copper down a tiny bit. Platinum seems to be okay, though. Platinum's holding out. So, Yeah, Larry says Friday. I'm very excited. I know. Friday should be awesome. Friday should absolutely be awesome, guys. I can't wait. I can't wait. It'll be awesome. All right. So, guys, we are getting towards the end. We're not entirely there yet, but if you have last minute questions, this is the time to get them on in. While you guys are thinking of last minute questions, I'm going to take a look at the likes. See if we ever did get to that 40. I don't know. It's been a slow day. Oh, 57. There we go. Fantastic. There we go. I'm happy with it. We actually have one more like than we have people currently in the chat, or in the, well, in the room. So I'm okay with that. That's pretty good. All right. Oh, we got a little bit of movement back to the downside. So we'll see. 64 and 46. I started buying YNet at $14. Right now I only have 25 of them. I'm thinking of getting more. Now that I have 500, it looks good for every February. Let's take a look at YNet. Let me pull it up. Here we go. So this is your Netflix Yield Shares Purpose ETF. All right, and right here, this is the one I want. Yeah, it's actually funny. Like Netflix. Purpose also has the single share, but a lot of times we don't pay attention to them very much, do we? And you know, and some of them, they're actually, I don't think they're as aggressive as the harvest ones, but you know. So here is, yeah, here's this. Oh boy, look at this. It's been on a long trajectory down. Yeah. So Netflix, yeah, Netflix has had some fun. Netflix has had some fun. The dividend yield on this, actually, right here, it won't even tell. Yeah, it doesn't tell me. Some of these ones on different servers, sometimes you don't get the information. But we can take a look here and see. So yeah, the dividend, actually, oh, they raised the dividend here back early, well, just before November, 30 cents. 30 cents. Now, this is interesting here. I don't see a dividend in this area. And once again, because it's on a different server, it's not on the TSX. If I see this, I will actually double check, because I'm going to say I don't think that they would have. And actually here, let's see, payable date, April. So I'm thinking that they couldn't have skipped April. So what I would do in a case like this is I'll actually go over to Yahoo Finance, and I'll just double check. Yahoo Finance, all right, and here we go. So we would bring up our YNet. Boom. There we are. Perfect. And I'll just go over here. You go to historical data. And I just want the dividends. Whoops. Sorry. Just give me the dividends only. Let's see. April. Yeah, like right here, you can see April. So it was, they got it there. All right. So there was one on April 27th. Let me just double check when that date was. I want to make sure I'm looking at the right April. Okay. Oh, let's close that. Close that. It gets pretty bad when you've got so many open that you can't actually see where you were. I think I was over here. Okay, yeah. No, that's the, oh, well, what the heck is this? There's the April right there. I was just looking and saying, okay, February, March, April. Oh, okay. All right, never mind. There's nothing missing here. It's just I don't know. They just put an extra entry in there. But sometimes that will happen, and I just go over. I'll double check on the Yahoo. The Yahoo will give me that. And sometimes as well, guys, I will look over here. I always like to look at the units. Now, here I can't see it, but sometimes when you look at the dividend, you'll see it's in USD. And if you want the Canadian value, just go over to Yahoo. Yahoo will give you the Canadian value. All right, Scott says corner gas is worth the watch. The surveillance bush. Okay. Len, is it more likely we'll get a red day tomorrow if oil goes up? Depends. It depends on how much. I mean, if oil goes up like a little bit, like right now, I don't think we're in a danger zone. I think we're still going to get some green, because keep in mind, as I said, things came down further than they probably should have on Fridays. That includes oil. So oil gets a bit of a buffer on the way up. If oil goes crazy, like all of a sudden, if we're well above $100 a barrel, then yeah, the market's probably going to be red. But I don't think that's going to be the situation. I'm still fully into a green market tomorrow. 64 and 46. Okay, I have to learn more about Ynet before I get more. Thank you for the info. Yeah, it's just, Netflix is, I mean, here's the thing too. I also want to look here. Give me 1 second. So we were looking at Netflix. Let me come back to the main page. Let's take a look. So here, this is what I want to show you, this. And now I'm going to duplicate this tab for a second. All right, so this is something I do. I will say, okay, well, what did Netflix do in that time? So here we go. Here we are, Netflix. All right, so let's look at Netflix for the year. Okay, now this is good. This is actually a good thing, 64. Netflix had a really bad year. So look at this. It's kind of doing the same thing, which is good. Because if Netflix had a better year, and this had a year look like this, then I'd be concerned. But because both had crap, because Netflix had a crappy year, this one, of course, is going to have a crappy year. The underlying asset fell, so does the ETF. Absolutely. Now, the one thing is that if Netflix recovers and has like a stellar year coming up, it will impact. Like this will still have a good year, but you will lose upside potential because of the covered calls. That's just the way they work. So just something to keep in mind. Now, now here's the other, and let's put the other side on here, all of the dividends that you would receive from this on the way down, that will help offset a little bit of that downside. So, people will say downside protection. I won't call it downside protection. I'll call it, it helps a little bit. It doesn't really protect you from the downside. It just helps a tiny bit. So just, just to put that there. All right, now back to, oh, look, yeah, see, look, it doesn't seem to, like, this is the thing. So when we talk about how high would oil have to go, like quite literally, I think if oil breaks above this part in here, yeah, well, then we probably are going to have an interesting day tomorrow. Scott said 2 things to say. That's coming up. That's coming up. That's up to you guys. You know what? Yeah, it's a lazy Sunday. So, and if you guys get nothing more, we might as well. Yeah, so we're going to be back here again tomorrow. We're going to do this all over again. And once again, if you have not yet watched that latest video, please do, it's a sponsored video. And sometimes people don't want to watch a sponsored video because they're like, it's sponsored, I'm not watching it. Nope, not going to watch the shill one, but I will guarantee you guys, I don't shill. There's nothing in there that, I wouldn't say if it was not sponsored. It's pretty much the same other than the fact that they're throwing a tiny bit of cash at the channel to, to promote it. So yeah, definitely treat it like a normal video. If you like tech and you want to kind of get an idea, actually it kind of sets up a little bit of the landscape for this, because this is going to be a tech-focused week with SpaceX. So you definitely catch that. And actually, I also have a space video coming out after this one. So that'll be Tuesday. All right, guys. Until then, as Scott says, I got 2 things I need to say before I can go. And that is, bye-bye.